Hi friends. Lately I've been asked how I make my beach pages. I do love making pages with beach pictures, and I just found this favorite mask this year from Finnabair. It's called Fish Scales. For me it kind of looks like ocean waves, and I've used it a few times for that and I really loved it, and I'm going to show you how to do that today. My favorite medium to use is usually light molding paste by Golden, and I'm going to move this down. And actually I don't want it to all be straight. You want to be able to do this the masking, but you want to make sure that it's not all even. You don't want it to be like a straight line, because obviously the ocean and waves are not straight. This molding paste is one of my favorite mediums to use. It's very light, literally it feels like butter. I actually use my fingers to put it on because it just gives it the best like I cover the mask the best with it. So it's just so it looks really smooth when I add it on. So I just basically start applying it, and you can tell until you're done, but I just go and I apply literally across the page wherever there is. And you want to, I'm running out of this a little bit, but you want to be able to just have a smooth because then once it's dry I'm going to spray it in different shades of blues and greens to really make it look like a beach. So you can choose how high you want, how or low you want it, and how far down the edge you want. If you see that you have, don't leave the line there, just make sure you move the template again and reapply at the edges. It's really important. It will give it a smooth kind of thing. See how here I went a little bit higher. Okay, I will show you after, because obviously the video is upside down, and here I'm going a little bit lower, and that will just help to create like a motion in the page to really create, like, you know, you can then use your embellishments and your flowers, your Prima flowers, and be able to actually get movement on the page. I really like creating a movement on my pages to create like a scenery behind it, and I've been doing lots of these. So you see here it's a little bit higher, closer, and then this. Now once you lift it up, you want to try to match it up just at the edges. So match up the template at the edges slightly, and don't press too hard on it, and then just finish it up at the edges. I know sometimes with we can't always get it exactly then, and then do the same thing in the other side. Okay, my pattern is now dry, and it actually was really quick. I just used a heat gun to set it. This light molding paste, I have to show you from closer. It really is, it gives like a perfect pattern. It's very light, and you see I used a white cardstock, and it goes so smoothly on. It actually makes the pattern be perfect, and it doesn't run under because it's not very liquidy, and it's soft, and it dries really quick. I discovered it last year and I just fell in love, and I keep on using it over and over again in all my layouts. Now I have picked some of colors, different shades of, I actually used shimmers, vibes from and they are like all different shades of greens and blues, and I'm gonna start spraying them on the page right where the pattern is, but randomly. So you don't want to put all of it the same color. Start with your lighter colors. So I usually start with turquoise, and I just start basically applying it on in different places. So it's, and then I add some of the green, some of them, and oops, this one is getting stuck. And then I add some of the darker turquoise. So this one is like seafoam. It's actually called seafoam. Like the, what I like about these is they're not very dark, and they dry pretty sheer, so you can really get a beautiful smooth look to them. without, like, you know, being worried about ruining your pages, because a lot of people are very scared to spray because they're scared that they're going to ruin their piece of work by just spraying. But if you get these, they're really light and shimmery when they dry, and I will show you it once it's dry. Let's see. I want to dart a little bit of this darker like blue, and you see, even like it's almost like a resist. You see the pattern stays white, although this paste dries fairly clear. It's a whitish clear color. It's not like the gel medium, but it's. And then I sometimes, if I want to mix the colors a little bit, I just lift it up and I just kind of wiggle them to different sides. Look how pretty this is. It's hard to see, but it's like, it's I wiggle them around and it actually gives it a really nice treasure. I'm gonna dry this with my heat gun and I will come back soon for the next stage. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, it's a little bit dark for me. It's a little bit still damp, but it's still too dark for me. I think I'm gonna add some more turquoise to it, and that might lighten it up a little bit. And if you see that you got some, like, you know, splatters instead of smoothness, you can just dab them. Or if it's too much, you can always dab it with a wipe. I'm gonna get some more of this one. This one is a little bit lighter. It just lightens the thing. I've chosen my picture already. I think I had it. I've chosen my picture already, and it has a lot of blues in it, as you can see. So I really want to be able to match it to the sky. I add as much as I need, depending on how I like it. I think these two colors really look good together, so I think I'm gonna keep them. And I mean, you add as much as you want, and then it will be as dark as you want it, and then you just go from there. Yes, I think I like it like this, and I'll dry it again. Well, now my background is dried up. As you can see, it's glittery and has different shades, just like the ocean, greens and blues. And now I'm going to add some layers. I changed my mind and I decided to use some other pattern papers from the School Memories collection. I really want to show that this is not a collection only for school pictures. You could really, all the back patterns are really cool, and they can be used for so many different things. I have my picture. I always like layering a couple papers. I took the liberty of ripping already the bottom. I just like the rough look, and I use this blue one and the yellow polka dot, and I'm just layering my picture on top. I also cut some other designs. I cut this world, which I thought would fit really nice, and I'm kind of gonna stick it here. It has a bird attached to it, so I didn't want to remove it. And then there was another bird on it also, so I just thought it would be perfect for somewhere like this. And that's how my layout is going to more or less look. I am going to add why I wanted to show you is because I wanted to make kind of a sun behind this world, and I wanted to use this doily, this Finnabair doily. These are just really, it's called an elemental doily, and it's just fantastic. So I'm actually going to use the same molding paste as before, and I'm actually going to put it around here. I'm going to remove my papers and I'm going to just mask it, and then I'm going to spray it in yellow, and it will just look like basically a sunset or a sun behind. And this, again, the molding paste is just so good because you see how these are such intricate designs with these doilies, and it just comes out perfectly. It doesn't run underneath, and depending on how thick you apply it, you get either a thin layer or a thick layer, and it's just really perfect for all projects. Whenever I mask, I just usually use this one. And the colors, when you spray the colors on it, it just goes on so smoothly. I know that some people might only use half the mask, but because I can't gauge where the picture is going to be, I'm just doing it all. It's okay, you know. This tub I've had for like over a year, and it's lasted me quite a long time. It's I'm at the bottom of it. I just ordered my new one, but I just really like, I want to show you the intricate details of it, and I'm going to let it dry and come back. Look how beautiful it came out. I don't know if you can see, but here, look. It just came out perfect, and it will just look really good once it's dry and sprayed. Now that the doily pattern is dry, I am going to spray it with some yellow shimmer spritz. It's actually called Tuscan Sun, which is just perfect because it's exactly what I'm trying to do. Sometimes they get stubborn. Well, there you go. Now you can really see the pattern of the doily, and once dry you will really see the pattern and the shimmer on it. Okay, so let me just dry this up, and then I'm going to build the page. Okay, so now it's dry, and I can show you the sun, how it looks. I didn't find it to be very bright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of this and paint some of the areas in some yellow, and I added and just basically a little bit on the actual pattern, and that really will just make it stand out. I'm only going at the edges because that's where you're gonna see behind the picture. I don't want to make it too much, and you will just see this once the papers are covered. Most of the design you're not going to see, but well, you know it's there, I guess, but most people don't when they see the whole finished product. I'm just going to continue this and dry it up. I don't want to, you don't need to see, and you'll see the finished product. As you can see, now that it's dry, you can actually see it's much darker on that area. So now I'm going to put my papers, and it will look as if there is a sun behind it. I'm going to first put this one and kind of find out where it goes. I usually use some foam tape. It's my favorite because I like it to have layers and it to pop out of the page as if the pictures are coming out of the page. So I just basically put one in the center first. The reason why I do that is because I don't want, sometimes I'm tucking things underneath, and if you have the foam on the edges, you cannot tuck anything underneath. But once I know where everything goes, I end up putting them in the corners to just make it all hold. Same thing, I want to do the same thing with this blue one, and I think it's going to go about here. You see how I'm layering the ripped areas, and the same thing with my picture. I am just going to do that for my picture too. This is a picture of my kids and my husband and my father-in-law. They're actually on a boat in the lake a few years ago, and I just found the picture and I thought, oh, perfect for this. There we go. So I'm just kind of I don't think I want it centered. Maybe a little bit off-centered, like over here, so we can leave some room, some flowers. And then we have the world, which I also want to raise. So I'm going to, I don't know if I want to put it, and that it's, covering my pattern. That's why I only put a little bit in. I can kind of wiggle it out and then move it down a little bit, and you see, and then it looks like the bird is flying in the sun. There we go, you see. Okay, I'm gonna move the layout aside for a second. I want to show you the different flowers that I'm gonna be using for this. I tried to match as much as possible to my layout. I just went to pick them out while it was drying. So first I'm gonna use some of these white, it's called nieve flowers. I think it's a Spanish word which means snow, which makes sense because they're white, and they can actually, they're paper flowers, so they can be colored any way you want, and I probably will spray them after. I've also picked this Charlotte flower. It actually comes in a package of many colors. This one particular one, I just took the blue one out of it because I just thought it matches. You can see it matches my paper perfectly. I also took this Serenity flower, which is part of the green pack, and this, I mean, it looks kind of like a light green, light blue. And then I took this little one, it's called Little Missy. It's also this similar shade of blue. And finally, I took some older flowers from last year, some labelle flowers, which I quite like, and they have script stamping on them, and these blue Avante flowers. I hope I'm pronouncing the names properly. I'm not sure. Just think I make my own names for things. And some shells, okay? And now I'm going to assemble the layout together with all the flowers and show you how I do it. I'm going to move this aside. Okay, so I'm bringing the layout back, and I'm going to show you how I assembled it. First one, I usually grab the larger flowers and try to kind of place them on the page where I think they might work the best. And I try to cluster them and then glue them. First, I just basically fit them in, and then I glue them because I don't want to glue them and then not like where they are. Sometimes that happens, but I try for that not to happen too often. And see, some go under, some go over. If you get different sizes of flowers, they will tuck nicely underneath. I usually try not to have too many colors of the same shade together. So I can stick a shell right here, maybe, and I can stick maybe this one over here. Okay, more or less. And then I have a couple more shells. I can put one over here, and the other one maybe tuck over here. And then I just wiggle it around until I find the way, the position that I like. Okay, as you can see there, I really like it like that. Oh no, I'm being silent. You can really put your flower arrangement any way you like, but I just like clustering them because they just look so good like that. Don't know, I guess for my eyes. And I also like having some movement on the page. Usually you might notice my layouts have a lot of movement. Then I just grab again my yellow one, and I can just spray basically, oh, it should be a good idea to just cover the picture for a second. So I just spray in the corner here, and maybe here in the corner, and you see, and then it just gives it like an extra yellow shaded area. Oh, I really like that. Okay, good. And then I can glue this bird over here, and look how nice. Okay, I actually also added some extra foam tape behind the areas where I didn't do, and I did pop this bird up while everything was drying. And here to this bird I put a pop dot behind it so it will stick together. Now all the glue is basically done, and I'm going to put the title, and then I'll show you what else. So when I put the title, I usually try to figure out, I usually put it close to the layout. to tie it all in. And if I am putting it in this end, I want to try and put it as close as possible to the edge. So I end up starting with the back first and spelling things backwards. So I'm gonna call this cruising, and I'm actually writing it the other way around. I pick these like greenish kind of letters. They're canvas letters from one of the older collections. I think it's Fairy Rhymes, but I'm not sure. And I'm just basically writing it down. Try to make it as straight as possible. I try my best usually. And then I will show you what else I do. I'll show you the whole layout. Sometimes I have to wiggle them because I saw here that I did some mistakes. They do fixed to me. Okay, so then there's the title, you can see. And now I'm going to show you something that I really like to do, and that is using gesso. And I basically use gesso to highlight certain areas to make them tie in together. So I take a thin brush and I basically I'm going using golden gesso, but I just, for example, the edges of the Charlotte flower here, it just ties everything nicely together and it gives it an extra special look. I do it to, if I have leaves, sometimes I do it to that. I try to get the edges, not always possible. If you know, you can wipe it off right away, it comes off. If there's too much, put some on the shells, on the Aventa flowers. I even put some on the edges of the papers. It kind of give it a rough look, without having to sand it all down or distress it. And I really like that. It saves on time and messiness. So I do add it to almost all the flowers. Some of the white ones kind of pointless. I might have to spray a little bit more yellow on those flowers to make them a little bit darker. But as you can see, sometimes I even go on the picture itself and I just add. See, and if there's too much, I just wipe it off and it comes off. There's no right or wrong in this, because truly it's just gesso and you can basically remove it. If there's a color that you don't want to stick out, you can cover it. I'll do it here a little bit to see if I can, and here. It's hard to, and did I get that other shell there? A little bit on there. And actually what I've done in other beach layouts, I even do it a little bit because it looks kind of, oops, I just covered the face. It looks kind of distressed when you're adding them. See, I don't know if you can see, I will get it closer to you. You see that just in a special, and even if you want, lightly, make sure that you're almost doing a dry brush, you can add some waves to the you know, some foam, not waves, sorry, I meant to say some foam to the waves. And oops, that's too much. And you know how you see the white foam on the waves, so that's like something you can add, and it dries up pretty sheer, so you don't have to worry if you have a little bit extra white. Just make sure that you're doing a dry brush, otherwise you're gonna get a lot like what I just did. Yeah, you see, like, I'm just getting some of the waves. It just looks like it's a rough ocean, even though this is technically a picture of the lake. I really want to make these flowers a little bit darker, like same as with the sun that I made. So I'm going to like paint them in a little bit of yellow because the spray didn't go dark enough. Sometimes it doesn't absorb it as much as I would like it. You have to play around with flowers. You never know, but they just look so pretty. Better, yes. And then here a little bit here. And then I'm going to show you the final step. And that is to add the cheesecloth. I've already pre-cut some cheesecloth and like really roughened it up. And I basically just tuck it in underneath things as much as I can. Sometimes I make a hole and basically just tuck it around the picture, around the flower, or I just like the strands to be sticking out as much as possible. So I just do that, and you can see the roughness of it around. Here's another piece, and I'll just maybe just tuck it around here, and it just gives it a very unique look, and very special. No, maybe this will have a bigger piece. Maybe just stick it underneath here, and to go around, it can stick and set itself here. Usually it just clings because it's so stringy that it just clings, and you don't have to like actually glue it as much. Sometimes I glue, but sometimes I just let it hang. The more it hangs, I just like it. It's the rougher look. Here's a good piece for. And if they're too big, yeah, you can cut them off. And this one might fit underneath here. And I just like the rough look of it. And the last piece, maybe underneath these flowers, we can go around. And there it is. And there you have it. Here is my layout, cruising, my beach layout, and you can look at the blog to see which products I used for this layout. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Come visit me on my blog or on the Prima blog, and you can check out everybody's designs. Thank you so much for coming and seeing my creation.